The Canon 5D Mark III. Is this 7-year-old full-frame DSLR still relevant in 2019? Released in 2012, the Canon 5D Mark III is the predecessor to the Canon 5D Mark IV and the phenomenal Canon 5DS. It can be found on the used market from anywhere between £600 and £900 depending on shutter counts and condition. And when you consider its original RRP was over £2,000, that used market price seems like incredible value. Featuring a full-frame 22.3 megapixel CMOS sensor, the Canon 5D Mark III records 1080 video using the 1DX's all-eye compression and impressive 91 megabits per second. It is a 7-year-old camera, so no 4K or high frame rate recording here. Unfortunately, that's just a compromise you're going to have to make to get a full-frame DSLR of this quality for so cheap. But by now, the specs of the 5D Mark III are so well known, let's just jump in and look at the good bits of this full-frame DSLR. The video quality that this camera puts out is genuinely really beautiful. The colours are just really nice and natural, and the image quality that it affords is genuinely just very good without any heavy lifting in post at all. That full frame sensor affords so much in terms of quality and usability that I would say that alone is worth the price tag. The depth of field and low light performance of this camera are truly incredible, making this a really versatile film camera for filmmakers of any type. The build quality for what is essentially now a budget camera is far beyond its price tag. It feels weighty and premium in hand. The model that we have here has a shutter count touching 6 figures, and it still works like new without missing a beat. I'd go as far as to say that a camera of this age still has a number of years of good use left in it, which speaks volumes for the quality of the build of the 5D Mark III. That build and image quality this camera affords leads on to the incredible value that this represents in 2019. And this is the main reason why I'm still recommending it. Getting access to an image quality that's this good from a full frame sensor for under £1,000, well, that's almost a no-brainer. But with all that said, let's jump in and look at the bad bits of the 5D Mark III in 2019. First up is the ease of use in video, and quite clearly this is not a video camera, and that shows when you're using it, that it is purely designed for photographers that happen to shoot video. The video capabilities of DSLRs have come along in such a fast rate in the last 5 years, thanks in part to the 5D range, that this is where this camera unfortunately really shows its age. It's slightly clumsy and clunky to use in video mode and doesn't afford some of the nicer user interface options that you get on newer DSLRs. The autofocus system is an issue on the 5D Mark III. Now, that's not to say that the autofocus system isn't good on this camera. It is if you're using it for photos, but sadly, there is no continuous autofocus when in video mode. That servo-powered autofocus system is something that we've become used to in newer DSLRs. It's even present in Canon's entry-level models, but sadly, it's missing here. And beyond those two key points, really this camera is only lacking in features that have developed since this camera's release. We're talking 4K shooting and those higher frame rates. Now, if those capabilities aren't important to your filmmaking, then the 5D Mark III might be a great budget option to get into full-frame filmmaking. So in summary, the 5D Mark III is something of a bargain of a full-frame camera in 2019. It is the perfect option for those looking for a camera for photography and video work, or perhaps for those newer filmmakers on a low budget looking to step into the full-frame world. For some more information on this camera, there's some links below, and whilst you're down there, why not consider subscribing to our channel or even signing up to the Filmmakers Club on Patreon. That's been my grab and go review of the Canon 5D Mark III in 2019. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.